This is my interpretation on the Sun conjunct Moon in Synastry. This is my Astrology Synastry series. And so with every relationship, they have their ups and downs, and no one relationship is perfect. However, the Sun conjunct Moon in Synastry will feel like things are perfect between you and your person. Let's just address the bad first and move on to the good. Because, side note, that's exactly how this relationship operates. They want to address the bad as quickly as possible. Nothing lingers with them. I digress. Now, the bad to be noted within the synastry aspect is the possibility that the partners have some type of sibling vibe. Before you get mad, disgusted, or both, just hear me out. Astrologically, the Sun and Moon play a role in sexual partnerships, in which differentiates and defines a platonic relationship from that of a romantic one. Therefore, the Sun and Moon alone do not necessarily activate the sexual energy, hence why I get really close sibling twin vibes. To elaborate on this further, the Sun person receives comfort, familiarity, and feeling of protection from the Moon person. The Moon person receives validation and appreciation for their ability to make the Sun person feel at home in their company. It reminds me of a close sibling relationship that are protective of each other, who may tease and terrorize their sibling, but they'll be damned if someone else does. Which leads me to my next aforementioned point about the couple getting on each other's nerves because they quite literally act like, need, and want the same thing. It's like twins having one toy and they have to share. At times, the Sun person will try to dominate the Moon person, and this is equivalent to a bully secretly being insecure. The Sun person will project their hidden weaknesses on the Moon person, who in turn will act this out subconsciously for the Sun person. The Sun person may also have underlying jealousy for the Moon person because the Moon person is able to express emotion, vulnerability, and gain sympathy that the Sun person does not usually get. It's like children getting in trouble, but one of the siblings gets a lesser punishment or blamed for everything, which can create tension and jealousy. But due to the love that they have for each other, the Sun person at some point will get over it, and they're back to being loving, quote-unquote, siblings. Now, to get away from the siblings' comparisons, in actuality, this couple will argue, and they will get heated, and then they tend to get over it quickly because the love and need that they have for each other overpowers the issues, jealousy, and insecurity that they both bring out in each other. We often complain about someone being too different from us, but it's the same when someone is too similar to us as well. Sometimes we need space, and this couple is no different. They battle with needing space and then also feeling empty and incomplete when the other isn't around. The synastry aspect produces codependency, and despite the negative connotations around such a word or dynamic, I do not see a problem with this. Most people who feel negatively about codependency are jealous that they depended on someone who at some point let them down. Let's just be real. This leads to my next point. For those who have this synastry aspect with someone, you can rest assured that the Moon person will always have your back, and the Sun person will always have your back, right or wrong. This makes others mad, especially, for example, the Sun and Moon person are conjunct in Libra or in the 7th house, considering Libra in the 7th house energy deals with themes of jealousy, envy, and sadly third parties trying to take what it is that you have, but I digress. Despite the sign the Sun and the Moon are in with this synastry, others will try very hard to break you up because they're jealous and they do not have someone they can depend on no matter what. This is another reason why I initially compared the synastry to that of siblings. The families of this couple will welcome each other in like they're a daughter or son from another mother, literally. Both families will love their partner and become very close. It's very hard to break this couple up because families are involved, and for the Sun person, the Moon partner plays a major role in their identity and how they're seen by others. When we hear of couples who you don't see one without the other, it's describing the synastry aspect. I can see the synastry playing out as childhood, middle school, high school, or college sweethearts, even the girl or the boy next door. The synastry aspect can also play out where they produce babies at a young age but stay together as adults and maybe even elderhood. It's a bonus if they have big families, though that may vary if perhaps the Sun and the Moon are conjunct in Aquarius, for example, but you get the point. This is a sweetheart synastry. The Sun person absolutely loves, adores, and needs the Moon person, and the Moon person feels the same times two, though it's no competition. The This aspect also is very traditional. So if the moon person is the woman, she would be expected to have the children, stay home, tend to the home, and cater to the needs of her man and her family. The sun person will be the provider, especially if he's the man, and he will be very loyal, loving, and devoted. And the vice versa, if the man is the moon person, he will still provide and be all the things listed above. However, he will be more emotionally expressive, whereas the sun person, being the woman, will be more dominant, making all the decisions and handling the finances. The finances that the moon person, if he's a man, makes. A friend of mine had a coworker who allowed his quote-unquote old lady to handle all the finances, household, children, and to make the decisions. All he was expected to do was go to work. Whenever he got paid, his entire check went to his wife, whom he referred to as old lady. And she took care of everything. He didn't have to worry about anything but going to work, and he liked it that way. So if the moon person is the male, the relationship dynamic may manifest this way. But due to the unconditional love and trust they both have for each other, it's never a problem. I remember telling my friend who told me about this couple, man, I wish I trusted and loved someone that much to allow them to do that. With me saying that comes from a place of admiration, but for others, it'll be out of jealousy. If that man is the moon person, others will judge him by calling him Pussy, wit, and whatever else they can muster up. Now, if the moon person is the woman, most modern women who are more than likely bitter single baby moms or independent women who don't need a man will judge the moon person by accusing her of being in a controlling relationship or growing up too fast or trying to influence her to find someone else to get more experience. Have you ever seen the movie Love and Basketball? Monica and Quincy were the main characters, and they had a childhood sweetheart vibe going on. Granted, in college they broke up because, of course, others drew a wedge in their relationship, in addition to them trying to pursue their careers and own identities with some jealousy mixed in. Eventually, they got back together, got married, had the kids, successful careers in the end. So though I mentioned above it would be very hard to break this couple up, it remains true. They can physically break up, but their hearts and minds are always attached to each other, always. Now, for those of you who are on the outside looking in, if you come across someone who has an ex and they share the synastry aspect with that ex, I would advise you just to move on, because you may have them physically, but their ex will always be there and the universe will always lead them back to each other, just like it did in the movie Love and Basketball. And this is my interpretation of having the moon conjunct the sun in synastry.